welcome to another edition of Visually Speaking Podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, Shauna Fitzgerald, and I am here with my co-host,
Kyle. Nice to meet you guys again.
And also we have another guest with us tonight. I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Joy Brunson-Nsubuga.
Nice. So, tell us about Joy.
Oh, okay.
So your childhood.
That's a loaded question.
Let's start from, no, I'm not gonna say childhood. Let's start from the behavioral health. What made you get into the field of behavioral health?
Well, I will say kind of like the quintessential, I wanted to help people. I wanted to do something that was going to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was looking at like college majors and all of that, I actually took some assessments on what would be like really good for my personality, and being a counselor and a therapist came out, and so I decided to pursue it.
Awesome. Yeah. I love that. And how long have you been working in behavioral health?
Let's see. Ooh, you're about to age me. 22 years now.
Wow.
Yes, a long time.
Yeah. So this is absolutely a career for you.
Absolutely, yes. There will be no changing. I am downhill to retirement now. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so now can I ask, because we all know that Black don't crack, how old are you?
Wow. I am 41.
41? Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I wouldn't have guessed 41
Not
either.
at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would have guessed at least 30.
30, like 30?
Yes, 30.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 14-year-old son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm old, but I still get carded, if that's helpful.
You're not old. Old is how you feel, so.
I also feel a little old.
It gets like that sometimes. Absolutely. So you say you're a 14-year-old. So you have only one child, or how many kids do you have?
I have two children. I have two boys,
Mm-hmm.
a 14-year-old as of tomorrow, and a 9-year-old.
Awesome. And with you being in the behavioral health field, how does that with, raising your children?
Being in the behavioral health field and having children, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, because like some people think they know about things that go bump in the night. I actually know about all the things that go bump in the night and the things that hide under the bed and all of that, because I have people who have told me all of their traumatic stories. And so it's really hard not to be very protective and like, I just want to bubble wrap them from all the things that could happen.
Yeah.
So it definitely affects my parenting. So it's trying to let go a little bit of what I know and trust a little bit. But we definitely have a lot of rules about people they can be around, places they can go, all of those types of things, apps on their phones. Like my 14-year-old's phone is locked down. Like it's just a lot of things just to make sure that they are protected.
Yeah. And that definitely makes a difference, because like you said, you've seen all of that. So it's different from a regular parent who, I'm not gonna say a regular parent, but a parent who hasn't been in the field. And then a parent who actually has seen all that. Yes, you want to put that extra bubble around your children. You want to be extra protective. You don't want them to be a certain place. You don't want to be with certain friends. So that shapes how you are as a parent and how you raise them.
Oh,
definitely.
Absolutely. Statistics say if something's going to happen to you, it'll be most likely by someone you know, not somebody random. And so you just have to be really, so you have to be really careful about who's in your circle, and also just how much trust and access you give to, unfortunately, everyone.
Yeah. That's the sad part.
Yes. But I also don't want to keep them too sheltered, not let them have experiences, all of that. And so But a lot of things they don't do by themselves. Like, I go everywhere.
Makes
they
sense.
Go. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. You got a question you want to start with?
Yeah, because you talked about how you bring counseling other people, and how that also kind of played a role into your journey as a mother. Something that I wanted to kind of touch on, because when you're constantly being fed like their troubles, their good and bad, I understand that can hold weight for you as well.
Yeah.
And like, it does. It can give you like really good, positive things to take back home, but there's also the negatives that can come back home. So for you, there's a thing I learned is like the help also needs help sometimes.
Yeah.
So could you like give a highlight of like how, well, first of all, has that like happened to you before, and how have you kind of navigated through that experience?
So I will say, yes, that has happened to me. I don't know of a therapist that like somebody didn't just kind of get under their skin. But for me, I went from doing more private practice to doing more of the public sector. So what happens there is that you go from seeing like I call them like the worried well, like the people who are doing pretty well, but they have some things that they want to tweak, to individuals that have no family, living under a bridge. They're coming in to get crisis services over and over and over. So going in kind of that direction, you really have to have some type of detachment routine. And so for me, it has to do with my keys or my badge. Like when I get in the car, like I drop them and it makes like this like loud noise, and it's like a signal for me.
To kind of
turn off.
Yeah.
It's done.
Okay.
Because there's so many sad stories, so many people that are deserving of a much better life and a much better hand than they were dealt. But it's also understanding that none of us are far from being in that same situation. But we can only do what we can do. And so I have to be filled in order to continue to pour into them. So I have to be able to detach, go refill, and then go back.
Who's your main, from a demographic perspective, who would you say is your target for clients, like your target market?
For private practice or for my main kind of work that I do?
I guess let's start off with private practice.
Okay.
Because you mentioned that you went from private practice and you transitioned. So let's start from there, and then let's talk about how it transitioned to current day.
Sure. So in private practice, since I'm a marriage and family therapist, my main client focus was Black couples that had also addiction issues.
Okay.
So that was my main focus there. And that's who I saw up until I decided I wanted to make a bigger impact just on the system, not just on kind of small individual couples or families. I just saw the need for how all these different systems, like it continued to impact them. So I wanted to make a bigger difference. So I decided to go into more of the public sector.
Nice. Did you feel that was a fulfilling decision?
That's a good question. I have to think about that. Actually, yes. I've been doing crisis services for the last 13 years. And usually people like burn out long, but before now. Think of like being an ED. And you don't know who's coming, you don't know what they are gonna have, you don't know what they're going to say. So think about doing that for.
You've been doing it for 13 years?
So I was doing it in the facilities, and now I oversee the facilities, but yeah. So 13 years I was in a facility yesterday.
Nice. On average, what would you say on average is the tenure for a person in ED before they like, okay, I can't do this no more?
Like 18, 24 months.
Okay.
Yeah. It's taxing.
I believe it.
Yeah. Think about like if you had a job where you saw people on their worst day. So in the ED, you're seeing accidents or people think they're having like an allergic attack or a heart attack or something, right? It's similar for us. People are experiencing like suicidal ideation, or they are so intoxicated that we need to detox them from whatever substance, or they're depressed and they don't know what to do. So think about like people coming in on their worst day, and then when they get better, they leave. And then we get another person that is on their worst day. So we don't really get to see anyone doing well long-term. That's for outpatient and like the community providers. We see them when they're at their worst. And when they're starting to improve, we transition them to their community providers.
That was gonna be my next question. Like, do you just like ship them off? Like, okay, go about your merry way, have fun, good luck. Or it's like okay, so now we helped you through this part. Now let me guide you let me refer you to this next person who's gonna help you through this next stage.
Yeah, it's more of a warm handoff.
Okay.
And definitely guiding, because if you just say, okay, great, you're doing better, go, then what's going to stop them from coming back?
Right, or relapse.
Yeah, so we are very, very short term. We are for the immediate crisis, but you didn't get into that crisis like yesterday. Like something had to happen. It's usually over a period of time.
Yeah.
So people need long-term supports. So that's our role, is to set them up for long-term success.
Gotcha.
And making sure they have those long-term supports. But honestly, it's not uncommon for individuals to come back to us multiple times, but before those long-term supports actually stick.
How many people would you say were familiar face? Like they went through the progress, they went through the process, they went to the next stage, but you saw them come right on back in.
You know, one thing I'm going to say is that I really like the language that you use, familiar faces. We call them friendly faces.
Really?
Yes, okay. Language is very important.
It's very important.
Because typically people will say like high utilizers or something that has like a negative, like derogatory,
like a connotation.
Yeah. So I liked that term. We see a good 12-15% are individuals that are familiar to us.
Okay. What would you say the goal is?
For those individuals, the goal is to have a community plan. So if we're seeing them that many times, that means other access points in the community are also seeing them, like they're going to the EDs or they're interacting with first responders or law enforcement. Like there's other access points that are also seeing them. So the goal is to have a community plan. So all of us have a shared goal of getting them to what we feel like the right service would be for them, and to get that to stick. And then for us, it's the time between they come in. We don't want them like if you came in today and you came back tomorrow, we would still welcome you tomorrow. So our goal is to start to stretch out the time between when you actually need us.
Because the goal is to not see you again, right?
That is the goal. However, that's not always feasible for everyone. If you don't have family, if you don't have a home, if you don't have kind of the basics of things, if you tend to try really hard but then it doesn't go well, you need a safety net. And I would rather you come back to us than you do like petty crimes and end up going to jail, or go to the ED where emergency departments don't want to serve anything mental health.
So how close inside is your department with like law enforcement? Like how does that dynamic work? Like I'm pretty sure law enforcement gets them, they go through that process and like, okay, so we're gonna send them to you guys, and like how does that work?
How does that work? So one of the things that my company that I work for is known for is our appreciation for law enforcement. So we feel like in the 70s, 80s, when all of these really big psychiatric hospitals, we had these big hospitals that housed individuals, and now we don't. Like, there's been a lot of lawsuits and all that, and so we have transitioned individuals to the community with community supports, but the behavioral health system hasn't caught up to doing what we're supposed to be doing. So law enforcement interacts a lot with individuals that we should be taking care of. It's typically like it's seen as public safety.
Okay.
Should they be? That's a whole nother conversation. The fact is they are, and they interact with them a lot. And so for us, we want to make it easy for them to access the behavioral health system. It's hard for them to take someone to an ED because when they do, they can't transfer custody. Typically, an emergency department will make them stay there for hours until a disposition or a decision is made for the person that they brought in. It can be 8 hours. If you're in a rural area, it can be through shift change, and then the next officer will come and sit there. So for us, what we promise and we hold onto in communities is that when we come in, EMS or law enforcement, if they see someone that they feel like needs behavioral health care, then we have a separate entrance for them. We prioritize them. They bring the individual to us. If you have information on them, great. If you don't, that's fine. You bring them to us. We log them in. We might ask, like, how did you encounter this person? Great, thanks. And they go on their way. And so I looked at some stats this morning in our Arizona program. We were right at 2.5 minutes of getting the officer in, taking the person, and getting them out.
That's a very short interval of time.
They need to be back to public safety and not doing the behavioral health process that we're supposed to be doing. So we want a behavioral health response for a behavioral health need.
So that was in Arizona too?
That was in Arizona. In Ohio, I think it's right at 4 minutes, but all of our facilities are under 5. That's our target. Yeah, cool. You have to be under 5.
Cool. So if a state were to, for some reason, go over 5, like what would be the process that you have to tackle on at that point?
So if a facility goes over 5 minutes, well, first we would need to figure out why, like what's happening. Is it that, I mean, we've had situations where we've had 5 police cars come at the same time. Was it that? Was it that we're not following protocol anymore? Are we not prioritizing them? Like what is actually happening? So I don't take a statistic and just assume someone's not doing their job. Sure. So we have to dig. Yeah, we have to dig deeper to see what's going on, what supports they need. How do we make sure that we are getting them back on the right track? Because typically it's me out in the community saying, this is what we're going to do. I don't like to go out into the community and say that. And then somebody says, hold up, actually, no, y'all are not, which has happened. Yeah, which has happened, and it is not fun. Like, it is just not fun. So I monitor all of our statistics weekly, monthly, quarterly to make sure we are staying on track. But also we've made a commitment, and we want to honor that commitment. So that would highlight red for us, and we would get them back on track.
Okay.
Pretty quickly.
Does that normally come like after the sentencing or before the sentencing for whoever is the one that needs the assistance?
What do you mean the sentence? Did you say sentencing?
Sentencing. So like if someone committed against a crime, I would assume, and then they get picked up by law enforcement and they go to their hearing, they get sentencing. Do they see you before that, or do they see you after that? If you guys are included in that, I don't know. Yeah. I'm just trying to.
Okay, so for North Carolina specifically, individuals can come to us several different ways by law enforcement. Okay. One, they could just see you, Kyle. You look like you need some help. Can I take you to the crisis center? And you can say yes or no. Hopefully you say yes. They will say just get in the car, and they will bring you to us and say, here, it looked like he needed some help. He voluntarily wanted to come, so we wanted to bring him.
Gotcha.
The other option is that maybe someone has put you on involuntary commitment. It could be maybe that means that you have to come to the facility, so they will go pick you up and bring you. Sometimes if you have done like a petty crime, officers have the option to not charge you and say, well, you could go to jail, or it seems like you need help, I can take you to the crisis center. So by far, the majority of the people that we get, it doesn't have anything to do with sentencing or jail or being in the court system. When an officer brings them to us, it's more of they want people to get help.
That's good. Because I was thinking on a random day, because I had like this random
On a
Random day is funny.
No, it really was, but I can definitely say it was like a lingering thing, because trying to help people get better has always been like the route for pretty much everybody in any kind of way. And some of the main things that I've learned, especially when law enforcement get the call, say, hey, you need to come here, but then the law enforcement only knows like a very minuscule amount of information, so they don't really know for them how they should proceed. Like, we should just take it to the crisis center, right, instead of just let's go cuff them and take them to jail, and whatnot. So I had in my brain what I think would be a cool idea is they would, like, if the crime gets to a point where the person has to be sentenced, right? Instead of just taking them straight to jail when it's clearly obvious, hey, this person genuinely needs help. Like, this person, like, you probably put this person in a much better position by getting them help first instead of sending them to jail. Yeah. Or sending them to prison or whatever. Because you can just send them off and they'll come back and just repeat the cycle. Right.
So I would say the goal is to take law enforcement out of the mix. So if they see you, they bring you, the goal for us would be, so the next time you need help, just walk on in. You can come in. We're open 24/7, 365. We never close. Right. You can walk in at any time. So we would rather take them out of the equation. Also, with the inception of 988 4 years ago, we're seeing more mobile crisis teams going out, which would be kind of the behavioral health equivalent of like EMS. They are going out and seeing people in the field and then bringing them as well. So we would rather have that. Again, we're trying to steer away from law enforcement and have more of a behavioral health response. But 988 is only 4 years old, and so we're still working with the systems that are out there. But fun fact, there is something called mental health court that actually does that when someone is...
Mental health court?
That's interesting.
Mental health court, yeah. If someone is sentenced, they can get their charges reduced or dropped if they go through this process, if it's definitely seen as a mental health issue, not a criminal issue.
Oh yeah, then we need to spread more awareness on that, because I'm learning that today.
Yeah.
I did not know that we have that. That's great.
Yeah, we do.
So, you mentioned 988. Can you explain more about that? Because I'm really intrigued.
Sure. So to understand 988, you have to go all the way back to the 1960s, before there was 911, the 911 system that we know today. So back then, if you were injured, you would have to get yourself to the hospital. And hospitals had choices. You would go ring the doorbell or knock on the door. Someone, hopefully, would come to the door, and they would determine if they wanted to serve you or not. They could ask if your doctor was on panel, if like who was your doctor. Like they had choices. There was no guarantees that you were going to get medical care. And it was determined that someone on the front lines in war, if they were injured, we had resources for them. They had a greater chance of living than someone who was injured back home. Wow. So we started looking into how to improve that. And that was the inception of 911. And then later building the system for EMS and making sure, like MTALA laws, like if you go to the hospital, they have to serve you no matter your insurance, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to where we are today. Again, like I was saying before, behavioral health needs to catch up to what we need to be doing for our own populations. Right. And so we have not pawned them off. I'm trying to think of a better word, but pawn them off on law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And now we're seeing that individuals are going to the EDs to get behavioral health care, right, and instead of being served by the behavioral health system. So 988 is a part of building that system. So the same order, 911, EMS, and hospital, 988 came into existence 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And you can call that number if you're in any type of behavioral health crisis or substance use crisis, and someone will answer and work with you to help resolve it over the phone if they can. If not, we have mobile teams that will come out to you. It is a clinician and a peer support specialist, someone with lived experience, will come out to you to meet you where you are and help to resolve the crisis. Mm-hmm. And if that isn't helpful, then they will either bring you or refer you to a crisis facility, the same type of facilities I was talking about before. Nice. And I actually have a 988 shirt. I've got shirts, I've got pins, I've got flyers, I've got everything. Because it's so important, even when I'm like going to my kids' schools, mm-hmm, or just out in the community, just wearing the shirt. Mm-hmm. I've got a sweatshirt, I've got all kinds of things just to bring awareness to this is an option. Yeah. Especially because we've seen in the last 5-6 years, we've seen how people have stopped wanting to call 911 because of law enforcement response, or they're not sure of what's going to happen. And so we want to make sure that people are understanding that this is an option. This is a safe option, mm-hmm, and it's a behavioral health response for a behavioral health need.
Awesome. Can we see one of your shirts?
Sure. Yes.
Get a shirt. So apparently this is one of your shirts.
This is one of my shirts. Of course, I have to have a pink one.
Of course.
I mean, why not? Usually they're white with a blue logo, mm-hmm, but mine is pink with that. Black letters. So it's 988. Yes, it's 988, and then on the bottom it says the suicide and crisis line. Awesome. So I wear this all the time to bring awareness. People ask me questions, and so we can continue to spread the word that this line is out there and ready and available for individuals to call it.
I love that. And you mentioned that they can call. So if someone doesn't want, someone all in their business, can they text as well?
They can text and chat. Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes. All of the options are available. There's also specific lines for like LGBTQ, mm-hmm, and then also for veterans. And so there are other like carve outs, yeah, to try to get individuals to more specific services that are right for them.
I love how it's all inclusive.
Mm-hmm. I definitely or Spanish speaking. There's a Spanish speaking option. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm glad it exists, period.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's 4 years old currently.
4 years old. Yeah. This past July was year 4.
Nice. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
This is my first time hearing about it.
Oh, really?
Same. I was today's years old when I found about this. Yeah.
Well, I would say one of the positives of working for Recovery Innovations, one of the positives is that we do a lot of national advocacy work, a lot of work to bring awareness to the situations that people have going on, the importance of crisis services, the importance of the crisis continuum, all of that. And so we are in it. And even last week we had a Crisis Now Summit 4, which is like an international convening of individuals who believe in this work from all around the world, talking about best practices and the importance of continuing to push this forward. we're not, it's only 4 years old, so we're not where we would like to be.
Yeah.
Obviously on awareness, we're not where we would like to be.
Sure.
Sometimes in like rural settings and areas, they don't have as much as maybe in urban areas. So we're continuing to push the message forward because again, this is our job to make sure that people that have a behavioral health need get the services that they need from a behavioral health professional who understands what they're going through.
You dedicated a lot of work and years into recovery innovations. I think you started what, 2013?
I started in 2013. Yes.
We're now in 2026, and you're a COO now.
I am.
Yes.
Like, from 2013 to now being COO, that's one heck of a journey.
Yes.
That is truly an accomplishment worth over 1,000 words. Congratulations to you. Kudos to you on that. First and foremost.
Yeah.
Second and foremost.
Okay.
Could you give us a deep dive on that journey from 2013 to 2026?
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yes.
That's
COO.
Right.
Story.
Okay. So the way I started at RI was completely just happenstance. I was doing private practice, and I was working for a different organization. And like I said before, like I wanted to make a bigger impact. And so it's not even about like the title or the money or anything for me. I wanted to make a bigger impact. So I'm that person that's like, can we try this? So what about this idea? I think if we did this, then it would lead to better outcomes, or I would like to try this. And I kept getting no, just kind of like stay where you are type of vibe. So after like the final no, I was like, all right, I need to
move.
I need to find somewhere else to go. And so I ended up applying to Recovery Innovations on a Tuesday. They called me on a Wednesday.
Nice.
And I was in for the interview on Thursday. And I was living in Holly Springs at the time. This was a job in Henderson, North Carolina. So I was very comfortable doing my 20 minutes into Raleigh and back. And I decided, all right, this is my opportunity. So I started driving an hour and 20 minutes, like one way to get there. And I was a clinical director then. I was on the floor in therapeutic holds, working overnight, just in it. And I've just discovered that I really enjoyed it. And RI is this is gonna sound cliche, but they're very innovative. We like to do different things and like challenge ourselves. So I was in Henderson for 2 years. And then we responded to an RFP for Durham. And I was in that process of starting or taking over that facility. We were actually standing in the building at midnight on New Year's Eve 2016, like waiting for the other operator to move out for us to move in and take over.
What?
Yes.
Turnover.
That's how the turnover happened.
On New Year's Day.
On New Year's Day, I was standing there. We were there waiting to take over. I was promoted to a director of that facility. So I worked there for 2 years. I had to learn renovations. We did a complete renovation of that facility. That one was double the size of the old facility I had, almost 2.5 times the size. So I had to learn it. And my CEO at the time challenged me to bring the Arizona model to North Carolina. And the Arizona model is where it's called a 23-hour observation unit. And what it is that it's very low barrier. Anyone can walk in at any time. And we have to be ready to serve them. That's where your police drop-offs came, all of that. And in Henderson, we didn't have that. So started it in Durham, went out to Arizona to see it, brought it back, started it there. And then we were successful. We ended up doing another RFP for Fayetteville, for Cumberland. Started that one, and I was over 2 facilities at that point in time. I helped start Jacksonville, and then I started to be promoted to like state director. I was like state director for like 2 seconds, and then I was promoted again to VP of the Southeast, and I started the facility in Louisiana like 4 months later. And then it just started to flow. I've started the majority of our facilities up and down the East Coast.
Wow.
And then 3 years ago, I became a COO, which has been challenging, a lot of work, but fun at the same time. Because my systems training as a marriage and family therapist, I'm able to see. So all those things when I was like, you know, when you're like in a job and you like gripe about like, why do we have to do things this way? This would be so much easier.
Yeah.
I think because I came from being in a facility and having a team and being on the floor with them and training them how to do therapeutic holds, and people didn't believe like I could actually I could not take you down, but I can like hold you and make sure that you are safe, and I can teach other people. Then having that background made it much easier to see kind of our whole company now and affect change that way. So I've been a COO for the last 3 years, and I will say one of the main reasons for my progression is my CEO, my boss now. He actually passed me over for a job in 2018.
Wow.
And I was mad. Oh my goodness, I was mad.
bet.
Because it was.
Does he know the story?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He will tell you she was hot. But it was a VP spot at that time. So I was a director, and it was a VP spot. And the person that was leaving said, like, I've put your name forward for this position.
Yeah.
And our CEO chose someone else. And
Wow.
so I was upset for a while, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to send him an email, let him know how I feel about it. And so I did, and I got a response of, okay, if that's what you want, fly out to Arizona, meet with me for a day. We will talk about your trajectory here at RI. And so I did. We had a great day, a conversation. He gave me a list of books to read. I did executive coaching. I've done my MBA. And so he's just been kind of there with my career trajectory.
Yeah.
And kind of showing me like what's next. And all of the things that I've learned, I just reinvest back into RI. He rarely says no. He tends to say like how. With my substance use background, we did substance use treatment in North Carolina, but we didn't do it anywhere in the country. And so I was like, this is something I want to bring to the whole, like all of the things that we do. Again, it's not about money. It's not about a title. It's just like, this is something I want to get into. And so every time I come with like an idea of let's try this, let's do this, he's always like, how are we going to do it?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's been my trajectory here.
Wow.
And I'm COO now over 7 states, and I lose track of how many facilities we have, but yeah, and several support departments and all the other things. So yeah.
Leaving
That's
over
good.
$130 million plus
Yes.
funding.
Yes.
That's
Wow.
that's a lot that you have. And you have to like balance and you have to oversee all of that.
Yes.
That's correct. That's why.
Yes. All of that. It's broken up between the different facilities and how much funding we get, but yeah.
So across that 13-year time span, at which part of that journey do you feel it was probably the most challenging for you?
The most challenging. I think the most challenging was, well, first even though I am 41, I am a millennial. And so I thought I knew everything. And I think one of the things I was told, and I was like humbled, and I had to be humbled, was that what got you to this job isn't going to, or like this position isn't enough to get you to the next one. Just because you're good in this job, this role, doesn't mean that you're going to excel in the next one. So that's one of the things that I think sometimes people, and I know I did not understand. Like if I'm really good here, then I'm going to be promoted. And that's not necessarily the case. You might not have the skills to get to that next position, to oversee maybe teams of people or oversee other leaders. Like there's different skills that you have to have in order to do something like that.
Yeah.
So I would say that was one. And then have you ever done a 360 assessment?
Maybe. No, I don't think so. Explain what that.
A 360 assessment. Okay, so it's an assessment to kind of see where you are, what you need to work on, and a lot of it comes from like asking your colleagues. So you send out like this anonymous like link, and I'll say, can you like fill this out and tell me how you really feel about me over all these categories.
Mm-hmm.
So no one told me that you're only supposed to send it to like 5 people.
You sent it to everybody, didn't you?
I might have.
You got trigger happy.
I did. It was over 35 people. I sent it to you, and they were all brutally honest. I had to take like a couple days off because it was a lot of information.
Yeah.
That
What you asked for.
it is what I asked for, and it is what I got.
Yeah.
A lot of information, but I think through that experience, like both of those, like just because I'm good at a job doesn't mean that I'm going to go to the next level. And then also getting feedback from other people, learning how to collaborate. Just because I can do it by myself doesn't mean I should do it by myself.
Yeah.
And so that was the big piece I got from my 360. I wasn't a good team member. Like I only cared about myself, my program, what we were doing. I wasn't great at collaborating across lines. I wasn't respectful of people's time. And so sometimes I think it's just hard to get feedback like that.
Yeah.
And it depends on what you do with it. You can get upset and be like, yeah, that's not accurate. Or you can take a couple days off and like sit in it and realize that you need to do something different. So I would say that is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
I
lot
mean,
of growth.
you had to do that.
If I was going to move out of the spot I was in,
Yeah.
I did not have a choice, because I can see now that I was not ready for a VP spot. I didn't know it then, but I can look back and say I would not have been great at that job.
Joy had to look in the mirror and say, okay, Joy, what are we going to do now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it was a long process. That's why I did executive coaching. Like a lot of that is working on yourself. And then doing the MBA is learning those extra skills. So you have to do both, really, to be able to move in the direction that you want to move. I think sometimes people think they're owed it or I deserve it, but that's not actually how it works.
Understood. Now, we'll say you mentioned that you brought in the substance abuse under the business. That is actually a great move, because of the fact that behavioral health, substance abuse go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
On a lot of instances. Because if someone is already aggressive and then they include alcohol with the aggression, that takes them to a different level. Yeah, so that's very wise to have brought that under there.
Yeah, it is very rare to know someone that substance use has not touched somehow in their family or friend or something. So it's important to be able to have the skills to, again, we treat everyone that comes in, right? So we have to have those skills to be able to do that if we're going to say, yes, bring them to us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, learning about what you're doing in the present.
Okay.
We're gonna do a little dive back in the past,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna talk about the future.
Okay. Deal.
I'll let her handle the future part though.
I guess.
So as far as the past goes,
Okay.
because I'm hearing what you've been going through. I've heard about what you've done. I kind of got a little bit of idea because I know I've also taken note that you do keynotes. You've been doing speaking. You've been doing public speaking, especially now since you're a COO. I'm pretty sure they send you across the globe so you can be talking to everybody and to do exactly what you're doing today.
Yeah.
But before all that, I want to know. It's kind of a two-part question.
Okay.
The first question I wanted to hear from you is, what does all this mean to you at the end of the day? At its very core for you, like, what is all of this for?
Oh, all of what I'm doing, ultimately, it's because of my mom, and it's for my children.
Okay.
You're like, yeah, keep going on that. I can read it on your face. So it is because of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom, she had 4 children. I am classic third child. If you ever want to get into sibling position,
okay,
it's classic third child. But she raised us by herself. My dad left when I was 7, and so she did not have a high school diploma, but she had 4 children, and so she figured out how to send us to private school. She was adamant about making sure that we had, like, our world was opened.
Mm-hmm.
And so we traveled, we went camping, we met different people. Like, I have the most random, like, knowledge in here just because she just made sure that we had all of these experiences. How? To this day, I don't know. But she was the first example that I had of someone who wanted to change a system, and it would not stop until that happened for me and my siblings. So that's my, like, because, but really it's for my children. I want to break more generational barriers just like she did. And so I have 2 young Black boys. And if you think about Black men, boys' mental health, it's not an area that people typically think about. In our crisis facilities, that's actually the #1 population that we see, and we're safety net. So it's an area that I want to make sure that when individuals need help, when they need care, especially Black boys and men, they have somewhere to go that is going to treat them well. It doesn't matter what insurance you have, what money you have, it doesn't matter all of that. I want to make sure that I set up this world that the best that I can for my children.
Okay.
That is my why.
That's a beautiful why.
Mm-hmm.
So the second part now is this part of the story, this part of your journey started in 2013.
Yes.
If you, in a hypothetical world, if you turned around, like you did a whole 180 and you saw yourself from 2012.
Okay.
With all that you know now, what would you tell her? I'm scared.
Oh, if you leave, like, a hard one for the end, like, what would I tell her? I think I would tell her that she's gonna make it. I think is what I would tell her. I had such a drive to get to a place where, again, I was breaking these generational patterns. I also want my children to see much more of the world than I've ever seen and have all of these experiences. And I want to make sure that if I'm successful, then they will be successful. Out of all of the things that we've been doing with my work and all of that, I also want to make sure I'm instilling those values into them. And so I had this drive from the time I left home to when I started executive coaching. And she pulled, I didn't even realize it was still there. She pulled it out of like, you can like calm down now. You've made it. Like think about, you can take some risks maybe. You don't always have to like analyze and reanalyze every single decision. So I would probably tell her to just go with it. It's gonna be okay, and that I am gonna make it to where I would like to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love that. Now, on your website, by the way, is beautifully put together.
Oh,
I love that.
Thank you.
My favorite color is blue, so that's one thing that stuck out too, definitely. But as you're scrolling through your website, there's one thing that really sticks out to me. It says, "Fix the system, not the people."
It does, yeah.
And it's consistently on there.
Mm-hmm.
What made you come up with that slogan?
Because I believe in the system. And two, I've just seen a lot of organizations blame their failures on the people. Mm-hmm. Someone is not doing the job correctly, or they launched a product and it failed, and like a lot is blamed on the workers. And so it's not always looked at as what type of system are they in? Like, what are you fostering? I believe that every system is designed to get exactly the outcome it's getting. Mm-hmm. So if that's the outcome that you're getting, why are we gonna continue to do the same thing and blame it on the team members, the workers, whatever we call them, instead of looking at how can we move, just like I do when I'm working with a couple or I'm working with a family, how do I move things around so that they are functioning better? Mm-hmm. When I'm working with a family, I don't say, we just need to like fire the dad and just get a new one in. Like you don't go in with
right.
that.
Right.
But we do that in organizations. Mm-hmm. Instead of looking at how can we maneuver the system to get a better outcome. By maneuvering the system around, you mm-hmm. may encounter individuals that are like, yeah, this isn't gonna work for me. Everybody wants change, but they also want things to stay the same at the same time. But that is how I think. I want to see the big picture. If I change this protocol, what is that going to do over here? There's always this trickle down effect. There's always this other part that's going to be affected. But it's important to look at how we are looking at the whole big picture. And so as COO, that's what I did for the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. So it's taking what I've done. If you worked at RI 5 years ago and you came back now, you would be like, what happened? Mm-hmm. Because the system has changed. The way we operate has changed. A lot of the same people are there, but the way it is set up is very different. We do the exact same work, but we do it very differently. Mm-hmm. And so taking all of those learnings, I've been able to put that into the concepts that are on my website, mm-hmm. and into the learnings of this is how I did it here, and this is how I can teach other people to do it.
Right. Because you can't have a standardized system for people who need different levels of help.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely not. And you can't have, you can't just like throw people out there by themselves. And it's really hard to do when you have like a national company and you're in multiple different states. Mm-hmm. But what happened is that every facility was like functioning on its own, and they had their director, which was like their little mini CEO, and they were just off doing their thing. But the company as a whole was not cohesive. The learnings were not cohesive. The standards of care were not consistent. The quality was not the same. But it wasn't because I can't blame those directors. That is how the company was set up.
Right.
So we had to change the way the company was set up in order to impact that quality. And if we are able to overlay, going back to like the substance use treatment, if I'm doing that in North Carolina, but they're not doing that in Washington, Arizona, and Ohio, then I can't really say that we're operating, just go on in and they'll take care of you, because they can't. They don't have the same type of skills that we have here. So it was really getting all those learnings across the organization, having the structure to be able to get those trainings out. And then also individuals that want to know why we're doing things. So getting that buy-in. But we were able to make really huge strides over the last 3 years. So I put all of that into the website and my new business.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, your new business, I'm glad you mentioned that. Can you give us more detail about the new business? Because we've talked about Joy, the COO. We have not talked about Joy and what her endeavors are now.
Yes. I have a lot of endeavors, but this one in particular. So I just launched my website. It's Joy, Brunson-Nsubuga.com. I launched it on my mom's birthday, and the website is dedicated to her. And it's all about coaching, leadership development, and mentoring for like organizations, and being able to use the skills that I have. I don't want to just keep it to myself. I want to make sure that others are able to gain the same information that I have, to be able to share it and to be able to work with them if they want to be a better leader, if organizations want to restructure and change things around. So it's a way of being able to provide all of that experience that I've had doing this over the last 3 years to different organizations. And then because I'm also a therapist, I have like webinars and trainings and all that on there. I do keynotes and presentations and all of that. And so all of that is kind of bundled into kind of one website. It's all housed there. But that took a while. I had to figure out like who I was with all of this experience and put it all together in a cohesive package. And so that's what the website is.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
That's awesome. Yes. Yeah, I know you're very proud of that.
I am. I've been working on this concept for a good 6 years.
Wow.
And it just wasn't coming together because I've evolved and I've changed so much. So trying to figure out who I am today. So it finally came together this year. So yeah.
I love that. I love it.
Thank you.
Kudos to you for sure. Yeah. Did you have any other questions?
No. You explained it all for me.
Just wrapped it all up, put a little bow on it.
Well, yeah. I guess there is one more.
Okay.
For those who are going to be watching this episode today, and this episode is their introduction to you. Okay. And based off of the things that you said, they're interested, they want to get to know more about either recovery innovations, your future endeavor, or just you in general. How can they get in touch with you?
Oh, there's lots of ways to get in touch with me.
Tell it.
Hey, that's what the camera's saying.
Lots of ways. So I am on.
Scroll up.
Right. A little ticker on the bottom.
Random note and thought. Yeah. Somebody like delivered my packages on the other side of our community, And that person figured out how to get in touch with me. So it is very easy.
Wow.
Yes. I was like, why do I have your stuff? I have no idea. So I am on LinkedIn. I am on Instagram and Facebook. Of course, I have my website, which has contact me all through it. So it's really easy to be able to like get in touch with me there. If you go to recoveryinnovations.org, you will see my face on there under leadership. And then when you click on it, it'll also have like my email. It'll have a link to my website on there as well. Because again, Recovery Innovations is pretty cool. They're supportive of all that I do.
Yeah.
And it'll also have like information and where to get in touch with me there. And so, yeah, there's lots of different ways to just Google and it'll just pop right up.
Don't tell me.
Oh, okay, sorry. He doesn't want to get in touch with me. Sorry. So just Google. So recoveryinnovations.org or joybrunson-nsubuga.com or LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram are all ways to get in touch with me. I would love to hear from you.
Perfect.
Yeah, from organizational stuff to coaching to if you just want to know more about 988 or have thoughts about that. I am a wealth of knowledge. Advocacy is just as important as any business endeavor to me. So.
And they got merch too, so you can get some merch.
Merch.
Yes. There is a lot of merch. So hopefully, like the next time, I will see both of you in your 988 shirts.
Oh.
I mean, I am a fan. I do love sweatshirts, so
yes,
you might like.
I love a good V-neck T-shirt too. So
okay,
yeah,
all right. I will. I will see what I can do.
Perfect.
Well, we want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to sit with us.
Of course.
Yeah,
it was an honor. For sure.
I'm happy to do it.
Thank you. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you. So. This is Visually Speaking Podcast, and of course, I am your hostess with the mostest, Shauna Fitzgerald, with my co-host,
Kyle. Just Kyle.
Just Kyle?
Just Kyle.
Really?
We're working on the title. Okay? We're working on it.
And we are here with our lovely guest.
Yes, Joy Brunson-Nsubuga.
Awesome. And you all have a good evening, and that is a wrap.
Good night.
Good night.